I know you're a bit of a cricket fan as well, and we were both rooting for Pakistan. And I think I told you that this is the first time when in a World Cup I am not really emotional about Pakistan cricket team's performance. For some reason, like I told you, like even if Pakistan loses to Australia, I'm not going to be heartbroken. And surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but this is because it's the first time it's happened to me. That's why it was a very unique experience for me, and I didn't. But we covered this. So those of you who are not cricket fans, it's not about. We're not going to bore you with boring details of cricket, but we've spoken about it. This ongoing cricket World Cup started nearly 2 weeks ago, and today is going to be a final between Australia and New Zealand. It's going to be all Australian or all across the Tasman, or what's the other word that you guys use?
Antipodean final. This is
Antipodean final. So never heard of it, but apparently I looked it up after you told me, and then people in the Northern Hemisphere use that term.
I honestly hadn't heard of it either, but there we go. It's so weird though, because you guys would never have heard that, yet we describe it that way.
No. Yeah, so we like in Australian media or in Australia, we hear it like trans-Tasman competition, conflict, or rivalry, or whatever. So those are the terms trans-Tasman we use because we're separated by Tasman Sea. So anyway, so it's between Australia and New Zealand. I
Come on, New
don't
Zealand.
really know.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, okay, whatever. Okay, so we're not going to bore you with that.
Yeah, that's not.
So 2 weeks ago, Pakistan played against India, and Pakistan, for the first time in a World Cup match, managed to defeat India. And the amount of trolling that started from Pakistan's end was unbelievable, and which was very out of character for Pakistan. You could blame the Indian media for that as well, because the Indian media had been trolling Pakistan for a very long time, which is, again, fine. I think fans do that, and as long as it's just healthy banter, that's okay, which we enjoy that. You go to their Facebook post, you troll them, and they're ordinary people doing that. That's good. That's a bit of a competition. But it changes when your politicians, when your celebrities, when your ex-players, they start trolling the other side. And not just trolling, they start making it a matter of Islam versus kufr, meaning Islam versus infidels.
Disbelievers, yeah.
Disbelievers. And that's exactly what happened. So let me show you some screenshots with you. There was this video where the video is in Urdu, but I'm not going to play that video. All those people would know what I'm talking about. Pakistan's Interior Minister, Sheikh Rashid, when Pakistan defeated India, came out the next day on TV and said, today Islam has beaten the kuffar, the infidels. This is a victory of Islam. And other people jumped in as well. Pakistan players like Shoaib Akhtar, he said, he showed the photo of one of the Pakistani cricket players who prayed on the cricket ground, and he said, a head that bows before Allah doesn't make it bow before anyone else. Waqar Yunus, another Pakistani ex-fast bowler, said, the most satisfying moment for me was when Rizwan, the cricket player, prayed in the middle of Hindus, meaning signaling that this is kuffar. Another Pakistani ex-player or the commentator, Bazid Khan, in a post-match conference, interviewed Pakistan's captain Babar Azam and put him in a bit of an awkward position. And he said, okay, so kufr to toot gaya, meaning so the infidelity, not infidelity, what would you say? The disbelief has been beaten.
Yeah.
So these were the four people, and then obviously when your four celebrities make these kind of statements, then everything else follows, and the people who follow them, and they started making similar statements as well. And I covered that in the past. So one of the reasons why a lot of people started hating on Indian cricket team was because of the Indian fans and Indian media that started boasting about their team, and their team is a good team as well. They would troll Australia, England, Pakistan, South Africa. They would troll everyone, and they would say, we will destroy you. Kind of like how Muslim followers of Hakikachu and all these guys, they behave like, oh, we destroyed you, we've beaten you, even though sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But that's the reason why when people react that way, nobody likes a cocky, arrogant son of a gun. So that's the reason why a lot of people hated India. Now a lot of people started hating on Pakistan because Pakistani fans and politicians and media started behaving in the same manner, which is probably the reason why I was actually no longer going for Pakistan anyway. Like, I mean, it's just like, even if Australia wins, good on them. So what happened? This is exactly what happened. In the semi-final, despite being the favorites, Pakistan ended up losing to Australia, who were the underdogs. So internet went crazy. They were so busy trolling everyone else that they didn't see this coming. For example, there was another one. This is an Australian ex-cricketer, Matthew Hayden. I almost call him Muhammad Hayden. Matthew Hayden. He was given the copy of the Holy Quran, and he said that, "Oh, I'm reading the Quran." So Pakistanis were so crazy about it. They were like, "Yay, Matthew Hayden's gonna convert to Islam now." And little did they know that Matthew Hayden, being any typical Westerner, does the same with everyone else. He did that with Hindus as well. He was given this Bhagavad Gita, the English translation of that, and he took that as well. So, him being just acceptable, tolerant, exploring white Westerner who, like when they go to India or Pakistan or any other country, they just try the local delicacies and they just do everything. They get along, yeah. But because Muslims have this inferiority complex that, oh, he's praised Islam, so he must be converting to Islam, when he's obviously not. But anyway, so when these guys said that Islam has beaten, this is the infamous photo of here was Pakistan's current sitting interior minister, federal minister, said by beating India, Islam has won today. So now Australians who are not Muslims nor Hindus, by their definition, they are still infidels. Islam has lost today because Australia has beaten Pakistan. Looks like Allah was sleeping today. Shoaib Akhtar, who said that a head that bows before Allah does not bow before anyone else. Well, this head today bowed before Australia. These are the three culprits. It said, so has Kufa, have the infidels won today? All these guys were so gassed about the victory of Islam over Hindus, over infidels. That's the reason why you should never make these kind of statements. Anyway, and I had a separate segment for Matthew Hayden because Matthew Hayden did say that, okay, I'm very impressed by the Pakistan cricket team's spirituality and how Islam unites them, and I'm looking into reading the Quran. So I was going to ask him, Matthew Hayden, are you going to read all these Quranic verses where, what are you going to do with this? Those who disbelieve and die while they're disbelievers will have Allah's curse upon them, as well as angels and all mankind. So Matthew Hayden, this is Allah is talking about your family members right there. Nor should you marry any already married woman except the ones under your control, i.e. slaves. So you can actually have sex with your slaves as well, sex slaves as well. The penalty for those who wage war on Allah and his messenger and spread havoc through the lands is to be slaughtered or crucified or have their hands and feet cut off on opposite sides. Flog both the adulterous woman and the adulterous man with 100 lashes. There's so many of these. Again, obviously, this is against the UN's Convention of Human Rights, against torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. So Matthew Hayden, if you're going to convert to Islam, or if you're going to praise Islam, and this is just this is just a tip of the iceberg. I haven't even gone into the actual problematic verses in the Quran. For that, Matthew Hayden, you are more than welcome to check out the rest of my videos, or of Nuriyaz, or of Apostate Prophet, or so many ex-Muslims out there who will give you, best knowledge about Islam. So I don't think he's going to be converting to Islam now because, Islam has been beaten. So whatever logic that they had, no longer applies because Islam has lost. But having said that, look at this one. Look at this one. This is what they had been doing. So remember me, and I will remember you. And they showed the photo of this guy, Muhammad Rizwan. So they were basically trying to say, see, if you remember Allah, Allah will remember you and give you victory. Well, that didn't happen. That didn't go too well in the semifinal. Maybe he didn't remember Allah that day. You would say that people who besides, this is the reason why Pakistan is being trolled a lot, and a lot of people, and this turned out to be a good opportunity for a lot of us that leave religion at the door. Don't involve religion into sports, because sports are supposed to bring you together. Sports are it's a soft culture. It's supposed to bring people together. It's supposed to increase people-to-people contact, not supposed to build walls around you. And that's the whole point. So I think a lot of Pakistani commentators, and I saw some YouTube videos as well, they were now saying that maybe people like Sheikh Rashid, Pakistan's federal minister, or these ex-players, maybe they shouldn't bring religion into sports. So yeah, Nuria, what do you have to say on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you absolutely smashed that out the park. I completely agree with you. I think it was a good analogy with saying that, yeah, okay, just because he accepted the Quran and stuff, that's just like, I didn't know that he had taken that picture with the what was it, in India with the Bhagavad Gita as well. So I was like, okay, that's like, it's just like trying the local delicacy when you go abroad, as you said. But the saddest thing here is, like you said, sports is just meant to be like, it is still at the end of the day just a game, and it is treated like a religion in the subcontinent, especially in Pakistan and India. And the backlash that these players get, I mean, it's ridiculous. The level of trolling, I don't think any sports player should ever be subjected to that kind of treatment. Games in a match, in a game of any kind, there's always going to be a winner and a loser. And I think it's kind of shady and it is going to come back and bite you in the bum if you invoke religion or start invoking religion, because like sooner or later you're going to lose. And in Pakistan's case, they had like peaked too early and they had won all their games and they had this like inner confidence, and so much so that they realized, okay, we're playing India now, we beat them, this is like a great time to invoke Islam and call out disbelievers, which is just, I think, again, inherently a problem within Islam, to kind of want to like beat your chest and declare victory of Islam over other religions, because you don't see the same thing happening across the board, like where there's countless sports being played, but you see the sports player, if they're religious, or if they're religious publicly, then they'll do their ritual or whatever they have to do, and they'll keep it to themselves. But you don't see ex-cricketers and politicians jumping on the bandwagon and kind of commending them for it. So yeah, it's just a risky strategy, because if you're saying Islam won that day, then what are you going to say when Islam doesn't lose? When Islam doesn't win, like you said, did he not remember Allah that day? Muslims would always, I'd probably justify it and say there was a reason. Allah does everything for a reason. But it's just it's a slippery slope.